The boys! Yo, it's your boy Comp Nasty. Alongside his boy, not really alongside his boy, but also Taylor Lewan. I'm sitting in my fucking girlfriend's closet right now recording this intro on this beautiful Monday turn of events. My mind's all over the place, so I apologize for this weird excitement. Just level of whatever. The boy just got called by Oakland. I'm in the middle of packing right now to fly out to Oakland. I have a workout tomorrow. Not on the team yet, but big week ahead. I'll keep you guys posted, obviously, but crazy journey, man. You know, the boy. We're trying to give you guys some podcasts. Reminder, everything's backlogged, so everything you hear is from the summer. But exciting shit, man. Your boy's going out to Oakland. Have a tryout. Keep you guys updated. But pretty cool shit. Spooktober stuff. Spooktober merch. We're at the end of October. Awesome, Taylor. We went to this spook last week with our better halves. We went to the Slaughterhouse. Phenomenal spook. I'm talking like a 40-minute banger, and at the end there's like this little maze that you got to get through. Everybody's kind of crammed, and you got to pick the right door, find your way through it. It's scary as shit. Huge shout out to Slaughterhouse. They do it right. We had a good season of spooks, man. We had a good season of haunted houses. Beast House was dope. Slaughterhouse was awesome. Nightmare in Nashville was awesome. But Slaughterhouse, man, I really like. What I loved about Slaughterhouse is they had the classics, dude. So we're like going through it. You know, it's my turn to be in the front. Boy's a little spooky, going through each one. Then boom, they got Jason. They got the classics. Jason. Who am I trying to think of? They got Jason, Freddy, and Mike Myers. Just bam, bam, bam. All back to back and talking in their element. You're kind of walking. Jason just pops out of you. Dude's like 6'6". They got a great looking Jason in there. Comes at you with a freaking sword or whatever. He's got the machete. You're scared as shit. I'm like, oh shit. You know, go on to the next one. Freddy Krueger sitting there, and then they got the music playing, the dun 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 dun, and you're like, oh shit, Mike Myers is around here, and you just respect getting spooked by Mike Myers because he's a legend. But they had the classics in there. Make it through the maze. Go check out Slaughterhouse if you get a minute. And these aren't sponsored deals. These are just like, the boys are out there reviewing and seeing what haunted houses are out there in Nashville. But Slaughterhouse was a dope one last week. But yeah, Spooktober merch. Go get your Spooktober shit. 25% off. We're running a sale since, obviously we're at the end of October. Shout out Spooktober. Phenomenal. Can't wait for next year already. Getting into the nice little holiday season now, and Christmas and Thanksgiving. So time to put on that little winter coat, my pups. Eat good candy going into the Thanksgiving food and then the Christmas holiday meals and the gifts. I love it. This time of year is amazing. But go to bussinwtb.com and hit on our merch store, and it'll take you to Hang 10. Shout out Hang 10 for the boys. We also got For the Girls shirts, hoodies, and pink shirts that say For the Girls. If you're not for them, you're against them. The boys ain't shit without the girls. Proceeds are going to breast cancer research, so go and pick out that merchandise. Reminder about podcasts they're done. Yeah, I've already talked about that. These podcasts here, Taylor has not been podcasting all in season. That's really the reason why I continue to say it. Huge shout out our sponsors: Hunter, Briley, Regal Realty Group, RegalRG.com. Hunter Briley, folks. He's a stud. He's kind of he's been one of the secret MVPs to this whole operation, helping us out with tailgates and everything else. But most importantly, he sponsors the pod, his Realty Group, from everything from commercial, residential, or investment. Bold investment. Love talking shop with him all the time. Hit him up. His personal 615-630-9735. Let him know the boys sent you. Let him know Comp Nasty sent you. He's gonna take care of you. He'll talk shop with you. He'll mentor whatever you got to do, man. Hit up Hunter Briley. Dude's a stud around Nashville. Also, huge shout out. Hashtag Don't Give a Anheuser Busch and Ajax Turner, the local distributor for Anheuser Busch. Keeping the boys fresh, supplied with those sexy little seltzers. You got the nice little 6%, get where you're going faster. You got the Aloha Beaches and the Catalina Lime mixers, dude. Nice little jams, nice little change up. The Don't Give a mentality is strong out there. Keep sending us your pictures with your Natty Light seltzers or just anything under the Anheuser Busch umbrella. Hashtag Don't Give a, and for the boys, whatever you got to say, man. Do it for the boys. We'll put you on our YouTube episodes. We'll shout you out. We'll do all that fun stuff, man. I love reading your guys' reviews, by the way. That shit is hilarious and dope. But yeah, shout out Aloha Beaches, the Catalina Lime Mixer, and also the little subtle climb of the ladder, those little bone and vive, baby. I love the little bone and vives. We want the little mermaid on the can, dude. I'm all about that life, dude, and I'm gonna keep plugging the little bone and vives because they're a little subtle favorite of the boy. Our guest today, Michael Chandler, dude's an MMA fighter. 3-time Bellator champion. He's ranked number 7 as a lightweight in the whole freaking world as far as all MMA fighters go. UFC, Bellator, all of it combined. Dude's a stud, man. He's on quite a journey right now. We talk about his journey. We talk about defending the title, getting the title, rematching for the title, losing the title. He lost his last fight when he lost the belt. He came on the bus, talked about it. We talk about a lot of things, man. What goes on through the mind of a fighter as you're in the middle of this journey. He's got a fight coming up in December, so we're all for the fucking boy, dude. So be on the lookout for that. But awesome conversation. Me and Taylor sit down with him. Super awesome dude, man. I'm telling you, he's really unique individual. Has a lot of great shit for perspective. A lot of great stuff to stay motivated and inspired. Big fan of Michael Chandler. You're gonna love the episode. Yeah, my pups, go out there, be a fucking wolf, and let's drop the hook and get going. Shout out your boy, send positive vibes to the boy while he's in Oakland. I'll keep you guys updated. All right, see ya.
What's up, boys? How we doing? You guys feeling good? I love it, dude. I love it.
You feeling older?
Man, dude, I'm old as fuck now. I don't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah,
I'm gonna die soon, man.
And we usually just start to find we usually just go into it.
We're in it now.
We just go right, yeah, we're already
in it right
now. Yeah.
We're already in it.
We're not professional enough to know.
No,
We're just
dude.
like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just
Dude, we don't even know
just
what
start
we're
talking,
doing.
and that's when the podcast starts.
That's the best. That's the best kind.
Yeah, it's just because I feel like a lot of podcasts, like they sit there and they're like, all right, hey, 5 minutes, boys, and then everybody looks at their phone, and then you're a guest. You don't know these dudes like we know these dudes. So
Yeah.
you sit there and you're like, all right, like what the fuck are these guys gonna ask me? Like what's going on?
And
then
the main guys, they got their sheet of paper to read the.
And they're just reading about you. Like, okay,
read
yeah,
about
alright.
you.
I'm glad though. See our production crew, they have notes on you. Mm-hmm. Usually it's fucking terrible. Like usually it says
Summertime.
It says summertime and
Summertime.
lives in Nashville.
God damn it.
Good
Stuff
luck.
like that. So what's going on, man? How's life? What's up?
Life is good, man. Just enjoying life between fights. So like between fights, when I'm not in training camp, I
Yeah.
can kind of cut back a little bit, cut it loose a little bit, hang out with the family.
What's
see
the
some other-
workout schedule like though when you're off fights? Like you go do a fight, how much time do you take off? So I'm not as well versed in UFC or any of that stuff. I do like it. I love watching it. So you go hit a fight. When's the next time you'll usually have a fight?
Hang on. He
Yeah.
actually just lost his belt.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! Well,
I did.
this is a depression podcast.
Yeah, so
It's
we-
not
so
a
we
depression. It's actually going to be a
Can you
banger.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
It's going to be a banger. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got sound effects and stuff?
Yeah,
We got it.
No.
Boss, hit it.
No. Yeah. I mean, more than anything, right now in my life is realizing what is most important. Realizing, that this fight game is about the journey, not the wins and the losses. But, this last fight wasn't. I didn't take a ton of damage. It was like very quick. It's pretty crazy.
Were you pissed off? Do you feel like it was too short? They stopped it too short? Pull
it's
it
so
up
hard.
if you don't mind reliving it.
No, you're fine. Yeah, no. It's so hard being in my position because I'm the guy who lost. I'm the guy who, So the good thing is there's a lot of people out there who thought it was an early stoppage. A lot of people out there who thought I got wronged. So you let them do the talking. You let
No
them
doubt.
do it. Because if it's you, then you just... And truthfully, I think it was an awesome... The way that it happened... And then when I got onto the mic afterwards, people were like, "Man, that was one of the coolest losses I've ever seen," or like one of the best speeches after a loss I've ever seen. So
Like a great loser. I don't know.
yeah, I'm like a
great
great
loser.
loser.
Like a great loser.
I'm a great loser. Yeah, no.
Dude, what I can't
Yeah.
No, okay,
imagine
so-
sitting in this thing.
So
This
I-
guy, what's his name?
Patricio
I apologize.
Pitbull.
And he came up, right?
Yeah,
you
he
whooped
came
his
up.
brother.
Yeah. So
You
I
whooped
throw.
his brother, so this is personal for him.
Yeah, it's pretty personal. I throw a long jab here. He just catches me behind the ear.
Because you're not like out of it.
No, I'm completely upright there.
yeah,
So-
that's bullshit.
Yeah, I
that's
don't
bullshit.
know,
To get you at the
man.
end too.
Yeah, it was.
Yo, that's some bullshit.
So it was crazy too because those were illegal shots as well. So I think the ref jumped in just as much because they were illegal shots. But then,
Oh, you're mad as fuck here too.
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah,
Yeah,
See, I
right
wouldn't-
now you're just trying to.
you're
Yeah.
holding it in.
Yeah, you are, and when you're in, and I truthfully think that they should never let two fighters come together like that after a fight, because there's nothing worse than the man that just, whether it was right, whether it was wrong.
So
behind the ear right there, man.
He clipped the top of your ear there,
right behind the ear, man.
That hurts, but you're probably more off balance than you were stunned.
Well, that's right there. He missed. Yeah. He's hitting your arms.
Yeah, and you kind of there putting the hands up. I mean, it's where you. It's a fight, so you guys know, you get kind of your wits knocked out about you a little bit, but you're still awake, you're still you're still going, but there's a couple different types of knockouts. There's the knockouts where you just go stiff, and the toes are curling, and then there's the other ones where you just loosey goosey. So it's kind of it's a weird thing, the way the body handles damage like that. But yeah, so my body kind of went limp. You kind of just lose. You don't lose consciousness. You almost just lose your equilibrium. You lose.
That's what happened to you. That's what happened to you.
Yeah,
you always talk about,
because the staff will always be concerned about. I mean, and me too. I'm always wondering about, am I concussed or not? Because sometimes I'll take hits on the head, and I'll just lose the present moment. Yeah. I might not be able to feel anything for a second, but I'm all there, and literally I'm snapped out of it.
Yeah.
After a second. There was one time we always laugh about it. There's this lineman who hit me, and he's like, "Night, night, motherfucker." And I was like stiff, and I couldn't really get up on that one. But there's been a couple to where they'll be coming out, "Hey, stay down, stay down." I'm like, "Yo, I'm literally fine now."
Yeah.
But I kind of took it for a second. Is that what you felt when you took that shot in the back of the head?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things too where you kind of have that flash of not much memory too.
Yeah.
But as you can see, when I went down, I saw the punch coming and I dodged it. So I had my wits about me there, or maybe it was just instinct, and that is one of the reasons why we have to train so hard. We train 60 minutes for a 25-minute fight, right? 45 minutes for a 15-minute fight, because you want your body to be able to react on just instinct, right? You know? But yeah, that was more of a, body went limp for a second, but I was there, and then I remember pretty much everything after that. So it's just,
I mean, you're sitting there.
It shows you getting up too. Like you're trying to get up, but that ref, you can tell, has already made that decision. He's already putting himself in there. And I don't know what it is to be a ref, especially in a Bellator, right? That's what it's called, Bellator, UFC, those types of things. But I feel like when you make a decision, you have to be very quick, because there's being punches thrown.
Yeah.
So if you're like, the fight's over, you got to dive in there and not think twice about it. I think if he waited a half a second, you would see
you saw him start to.
Well, and I think that's what it is too. I would not want that job. I mean, probably same thing with you guys. You wouldn't want to be an NFL ref either, when the whole game could be on your back.
No one wants to be a zebra.
Nobody wants to be that, right? They don't get paid enough for the the position they're in. But especially in mixed martial arts, like you said, they have to make a split second decision based upon what they see. And a lot of times it happens. It happened with a guy that I wrestled with, Ben Askren. Remember him?
Yeah, he actually just had a.
So he had a really bad fight. That was bad. That was a stiff
He's the one who
toes
took
curl,
the knee to the
flying
head.
knee.
The flying knee.
Yeah. So that one was bad.
Bring that up.
Ben Askren. But the fight before that, he had a guy. It looked like he was choked him out. So the ref jumped in, and then right as the ref jumped in, so he let go, and the guy Robbie Lawler was just like, "What happened? What are you doing?"
When it comes to chokeouts, I feel like you either got to tap or you got to go limp, right? It's super easy to tell when someone's lost consciousness, especially
check that shit out
choking it out.
This is bad.
Taylor, this is it, the flying knee I was telling you about. That we should have talked about.
Why are you yelling at me?
This is it.
It's 9 in the morning.
So here's the very beginning of the fight.
This dude comes. Oh, he's dead.
That's the beginning.
Holy fuck,
5 seconds into the fight. So it's just.
That dude taunted the shit out of him when he was out too.
Yeah.
So who's this cat?
So this is the guy that got just knocked out was Ben Askren.
And that's your boy. You guys wrestled together.
Yeah, one of the greatest human beings on earth. But a brash, trash talking dude. So there was a lot of heat around this fight. The other guy, this guy right here, used to fight in the streets in Miami with Kimbo Slice in the backyard. Remember Kimbo Slice?
Hell yeah.
Rest in peace, Kimbo Slice.
No doubt.
But this dude right here, man, long hair, freaking braided in the backyard, some shorts on, no shirt, just slugging it out, bare knuckle. And now he's been in all the major organizations. He was in Strikeforce, he was in Bellator, now he's in the UFC. Honestly, he was written off for a long time. He's got like 13, 15 losses, but that's what this sport breeds. As long as you can go from setback to setback or loss, to loss without losing the momentum or losing the faith, or maybe you just don't have another option. You know, I mean, like if I lost a bunch of fights in a row, I'd probably be like, okay, I'm gonna hang it up and move on to other endeavors.
this
But
might be it.
you know, a lot of these guys don't have a lot to fall back on either.
They're still fighting. Like Arlovsky, I just saw fighting the other night, and I was like, yo, why in the fuck is he still fighting?
No, dude, he just set 3 records.
20
I think.
years.
Yeah, 20 years.
He was the champ too. Like what? Like 18.
Like 18 years ago.
18 years ago. But he's like, yo, why is he still fighting?
He's
Dude,
just
that's insane.
yeah, and I bet he's getting paid I'm sure he's getting paid really well, and he's, I don't know, those heavyweights can always fight longer than a lot of the lighter weights because it's not as much based on speed and cardio and that kind of stuff. They're just bigger and everything's a little bit slower,
more
but
barbaric,
more
not
barbaric,
as technical.
Not maybe not as technical, but just everything is a lot slower. Like so for me, I'm going to lose my speed and my quickness compared to another 55-pounder. A lot faster than an Arlovsky, who's now 40-something years old. He can still hang with those heavyweights. Now they all get, take a lot of damage and get knocked out a lot. So hopefully they're all right. But
that's a lot of information to digest this close to the What's okay? So I walked in here and said UFC. You fight for Bellator.
Bellator, yeah.
So what's the difference between Bellator, UFC, and what was the other one?
Strike Force.
There's Strike Force. Strike Force is an older organization. They're not around anymore.
Okay.
UFC bought them. There's ONE FC that's mainly based over in Asia. They're coming over here, opening up US offices here, but essentially it's all the same sport. It would be exactly like the rules that you guys play in the NFL, and a new league came up with the exact same league, but it was just a different league. The main difference is the UFC is the biggest. It's been around since 1993. So they've just celebrated their 25th anniversary. Bellator's been around since 2008. So they're, just 10 years into it. So Bellator's gaining steam. ONE FC is coming in, but with taking kind of the MMA world by storm because they're paying guys better and doing some big shows over in Asia. So Bellator's taking really great care of me. I've been with them since the beginning of my career. Really, I came in. They used to do a tournament where it'd be eight guys in a bracket. 3 fights in 3 months. So I fought March, April, and May of 2011. And then
that's dope.
And then fought November 2011. It was like $100,000 tournament. And then I fought for the world title all in 1 year. So I saw a great path to be able to get to, top 5 in the world with Bellator. And then I've kind of made myself an indispensable asset, and that's always the goal.
Yeah. Do you want to be in the UFC? What's the thought behind sitting back and being like, obviously UFC is the most popular, it's the most known, and the ins and outs of it. So you're like, oh, I'm going to stay put in Bellator I know my reasons why, and they're better reasons. But is there a part of you that's like, I want to get in the fucking UFC?
Yeah.
Just to put things into perspective too, like the NFL, like there's a bunch of leagues. There's the XFL. There was the AFL, right? AAF or something like that. They $70 million down the drain. Like didn't even make it a whole season. There's the CFL. Like there's a whole bunch of different football leagues, but the one is the NFL. Everybody wants to play in the NFL. It's where the money's the best, publicity's the best teams, the best talent, and all that. I don't know if that I don't know if that's the same or is Bellator like
Bellator is pretty real deal, but UFC so
popular.
popular.
You think of UFC, you think of like Conor McGregor, you got the Nate Diaz guy, you got all those dudes. And
So here's what I would say.
School us up, bro.
Let me school you guys up real quick. And it's hard too because like to be real truthful will hurt people's feelings and this kind of stuff. But really, when you have all the power, you can suppress the wages, right? So it's actually the opposite. So the UFC is the biggest organization, yet I would say that they pay less to the smaller third, the smaller of the guys. Now I will say, if you go over there, you play your cards right, you win your fights, you do your job, you can make millions and millions of dollars like Conor has, like Khabib has, like John Jones and these
those
guys.
Personalities too that kind of help them
exactly.
out.
And they're in the top 1%. So it's hard to say, but I've made my decisions based upon what's the best decision for myself and my family, my future family.
Doubt.
Whenever I was, just had a wife and didn't have a son now, but now I just signed another contract about a year ago and have another year or so left on it. And I made that decision based upon finances. I mean, you don't leave your current job, your current company, your current situation for a different situation that will pay you less, that you might get less respect and all that. Because the other thing too is I've made myself an indispensable asset to a great organization who's taken really great care of me. If I go to the UFC, I'm just another face as well. Now, there's people all over the world, and I see it every day. Man, I would love to see you fight Conor. I'd love to see you fight Khabib. I'd love to see you fight these top guys in the world because they think I can hang with them or maybe even beat them. but going in, making less money, and then having to fight five of the top 10 guys just to get to that maybe title shot where they can dangle the carrot and say, hey, if you win these 5 fights plus this one, you'll make X amount of dollars, blah, blah, blah. I'm not into that. I've proven myself, you know, so I don't need to.
You're even saying the Bellator, like they can take care of guys better than what the UFC would do.
So I think it's just spread out a little bit more. I think the highest earners in the entire world will always be the UFC guys because of the pay-per-view model, because of how big they are and how much money they spend promoting it. But when you see, you know, myself and Ryan Bader, Fedor Emelianenko, you know, all these big name guys, big high level athlete guys that are making really great money for the sport. When it comes to the sport, we're making extremely good money up in that top 1%. But the lower half of the UFC and even the lower half of Bellator is not making a lot of money. This is a hard business to make a lot of money in. And the older I get, the longer I'm in the sport, the more I realize how truly blessed I am to be in the sport for 10 years and be competing at a high level with all the world titles that I fought for, and then making the money that I'm making too. So it's a crazy sport, and I would, you know, all you young kids out there who, you know, I can't wait to be an MMA fighter someday. It's tough, and you got to play your cards right, just like being in the NFL, right? You know?
Yeah, man. I can't imagine going in. Like I watch the UFC fights all the time, and I'm watching these dudes walk into the ring, and I'm like, I can't even imagine that feeling.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, it's probably like walking out of the tunnel.
No.
But the same thing, it's like,
no.
yo, I got 53 dudes with me.
Yeah.
I got
just
a
yelling,
little cult with me. The boys, we're gonna do our best. You know what I'm saying? And it's you by yourself with like your crew, your trainers,
cameras,
and people is in your face. You got your song going, and it's like that's got to be such a surreal feeling. And I don't know, man. The stresses that have to come with just walking into that ring with somebody, there's got to be. I mean, there's so much viewing and stuff like that. There's lots of money out there. I don't know why guys aren't getting paid. You know, just same thing for the NFL. Like, there's a minimum for everybody.
Right.
And the older you get, eventually that minimum gets like, I don't think, what, 900?
Yeah.
For the older dudes. And the younger, when I was a rookie, it was like 420 or something like that. But it's like, there's so much money in it. You would think, like, you know, you offer more money, you're going to have those kids that want to fight.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. I don't want to make this a, you know, bashing on the organizations like they should pay us more. We should get paid more for what we do, and the UFC, rightfully so. Without what Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta and Frank Fertitta, what those guys did starting this sport, paving the way for all of us to be able to make a living. I'm making a living in an organization. I've never even spoken to Dana White. I've never been in the UFC. I've never fought in the octagon. But yet what they did since 1993 has made me, you know, very financially secure to be able to take care of my family, fighting in a different organization, because off of the back of the biggest organization in the world and their kind of their stock inside the world. So they deserve to make their share as well. It would be nice if we made more, but it's, you know, going back to stepping into the cage, it's pretty crazy. You know, you just have to know that you've done everything you possibly can. You really just have to be willing and able to accept the uncertainty that's about to happen. You know, just like my last fight, man, that's embarrassing. You know, you just get knocked out in front of.
That's what's crazy.
We know the feeling.
Is it can
Right,
end.
pull up my video. We'll make them feel better.
There we go. Come on,
that video getting knocked out week 1 against the Dolphins last year.
And that's the thing, like, you work so goddamn hard for something like it to end that.
Dude,
like that.
12 weeks.
And you're not even really out of it. It's like, yo, if I'm gonna fucking lose this fast, like, knock me the fuck out,
just
dude.
decapitate me.
Yeah,
You know,
like you don't want to be sitting there thinking like. That's it.
Yeah.
All however long you train, like it just comes to an end that fast.
Oh boy.
Yeah, here's Taylor's.
Yeah, so that's Andre Brandt.
And this is week 1.
This is week 1 of the 2018 season, so I'm running right there on the left side of the, and I just get blindsided. And that's Andre Brandt too. He's like a second team slappy, like not really. He's not an anybody guy. Like if he calls us,
he's going up to you too, man. Ooh.
And so he's right here. He's yelling body bag.
Put him in a body bag.
He's like, body bag. Body bag. And Get 91 right there, Cameron Wiggs now on our team. He's now on the Titans. I talked to him about it.
Dude, what
did he say?
He said, so I talked to Cam about it, and he's like, honestly, dude, like.
Oh, there's the boy. Shout out.
So, yeah, there's Cobb right there. 5'1" Coach. Let me bring left tackle, Coach. Just give me for a second.
Oh, man.
So I'm out. And then I'm up.
No, you're good.
We're
What's
up,
up,
baby?
What's the big deal?
And we're moving now. We're walking. We're done.
They stopped the fight. What the heck? You know,
Yeah.
it's like, why would you stop the fight?
I was fine. I was fine.
No, I mean, it's
Yeah, this is my favorite part because the boys got my back on
Let's
this
go,
thing.
man. See, and that's the funny thing too. Mixed martial arts is very similar. Like I'm literally training right now with the team that I lost my first fight ever. I beat Eddie Alvarez to win the world title the first time, which is huge.
Yeah.
But then I lost to him about 2 years later. I'm now training with the team that coached him. I'm now training my head coach, my main head coach, coached Eddie Alvarez against me 2 years ago when I lost that fight. Right. So it's weird how it's such a big world, but it's so small. Just like you say, Cameron Wake's over there high-fiving his boys who just laid you out, and now he's trying to lay people out for you. You're right, So
that's crazy.
Well, how was that conversation? What did he?
I talked to him. It was like a regen day during OTAs, and I was like, Cam, we got a problem. And Cam's like a super soft-spoken dude, nicest guy, and he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, your boy Andre Branch knocked me the fuck out. I'm like, are you high-fiving him, or what's the deal? And his words, allegedly. He says he didn't know. He's like, honestly, I didn't know. Like, I knew there was a commotion and someone got hit, but I didn't know who did it or anything like that. And I feel like if it was anybody else, God, honestly, if it was anybody else, I feel like I'd be like, hey, you're full of shit. But Cam, you watch him play games, and he's literally just there to get the quarterback and go home. He's so locked in, dude. He doesn't look like he focuses on the riff-raff, the bullshit or anything like that.
It is funny too because people will say that kind of stuff. What did you think when this guy did that or he did that? And it's kind of interesting too because I really don't look at it like the entity that I'm about to fight is a human being. I just see two arms and I see two legs. That's my size, and he's trying to take food off the table for my family. And I don't really look at him like it's a person. You know?
His personality.
You got a job.
Anything.
Yeah, you got a job to do, and you do it. And a lot of times you black out. Just go after it.
Yeah,
I
fucking
What's
love
that
it.
emotion like? Like, obviously you train for months at a time, and you're hardworking, and you start walking to the ring, and that adrenaline dump, or how much do you have to probably mentally train for something like, or a young guy that he's probably going into his first fight, maybe the big dance, walking to the octagon, like, yo, what are the emotions going to be like? Here's what you're going to be looking for. Here's how you got to suppress certain emotions, because again, it's just you, dude.
Yeah.
It's just you. And once you enter that ring and it's kind of dark and everyone's out there and the spotlight's on, it's got to be a different feeling than, obviously we're all jacked to go train every day.
Yeah.
But now when you're fucking in the arena and the lights are on, you're just kind of like, what is that emotion like?
Yeah, man. You hit the nail on the head when you talk about actually having to suppress a lot of it too, because I mean, human emotion, the human spirit wants to get up for those types of scenarios. That's why visualizing it, stepping into the cage before you actually step into the cage. I mean, I can close my eyes and I can see the walk. I can smell what the cage smells like. I can feel the heat of the lights. I can feel kind of the rumble of the crowd, like you guys probably can on the field, right?
Right.
You can feel it. You got to feel it before you actually get there, and really just realizing where your emotion, there's a spectrum from emotion to energy, and you want to get to an area, you want to get to that number. If it's a 1 through 10, you want to get to that number where you're going to perform the best, where you're going to flow, where you're going to be at your best and kind of firing all cylinders. For me, it should be about a 5. It should be no higher than a 5. I don't want to have a lot of emotion, because emotion drives the heart rate up. It drives all that stuff up. And a lot of times
make a mistake that way.
Make a mistake, but also too, when you see people like in a fight and you say, "Oh my gosh, he's gassed." He's not really out of shape. He probably just got into a situation, into a scenario where his heart rate got elevated. He didn't have his emotions in check, and he lost that cardio. Same thing with wrestling, man. You grew up watching your brother, I'm sure, right?
Did you shout out Cody. I wrestled.
Yeah.
Up until I quit after 6th grade. Hated it.
Yeah.
Parents forced me to do it again in high school, or I would be grounded for the winter.
Yeah. Well,
so
when you look like you,
like
I played football, but I didn't really play football. I was like, wrestling's good for me because of weight classes, right? So, but same thing with wrestling, man. I had matches where you get taken down in the first 30 seconds of a match, and you all of a sudden the negativity goes to the roof, and then all of a sudden you lose that match, and you feel like your feet are in quicksand and your feet are in cement blocks. So as you're walking into the cage, a lot of times too, I talk about talking to myself instead of hearing.
That self-talk.
Yeah,
super smart.
because I think if you just are sitting there, the human, I think that our brains were wired for that fight or flight, that like survival mode, and you're always worried about threats, possible threats. There's a million perceivable threats when you're walking into a cage with a man who wants to rip your head off. So instead of thinking about that, instead of just sitting there in silence and hearing what might come into my mind, because just one negative thought can be a waterfall that can send you down the wrong path. So a lot of times I'm just sitting there and I'm talking to myself, you know, whether it's audibly or whether it's in my head, talking to myself, because if I can fill that space, if I can fill that void, then the chances of any kind of negativity coming in are slim to none.
That fight or flight is so real. Like, if you, like a human being, if you break us down, like, we're still caveman times. Like, we still are not evolved enough to understand, like, it's going to be okay. Like, there's no gray area.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a situation where it's high intensity, your adrenaline's going to start rushing, and it's either going to tell you, like, I get the fuck out of here, or I need to bow up. Yeah. That's crazy how you think we've evolved so much, but we really haven't. At the end of the day, it's still, when you get put in those black and white situations, it's going to be one way or the other.
Yeah. And what I've realized too, and as the older I get, the more I realize I spent a lot of years fight or flight in my training, right? You know, so I would get into a knockdown, drag out war. Number one, in the sparring sessions. Number one, it's not good because I think a human being can only take so many shots to the head and chin before it's over, right?
Yeah, you're just mush, and then you got that. Which is, I mean, we'll get into the concussion protocol of your guys' stuff, but go keep going, finish your thought.
So I used to train where it was fight or flight because I was a tough guy. It's like I fought more with my balls than I did my brain, and I would just go. But now the older I get, the more I realize drilling and being in more of a play, fun, sparring type of scenario where there is no perceived threat, where I'm actually cognitively thinking about what I'm doing, cognitively thinking about different tells, different footwork, different feints, different movements to be able to actually break down the sparring sessions in front of me, rather than that fight or flight. Because I know I've already proven that I'm tough. But me being tough inside of a cage, number one, is not the best way for me to fight. I'd rather it be a technical beat 'em up, walk home, or walk out of the cage and collect a paycheck, kiss my wife, let's go. So I've kind of tailored my training more towards less fight or flight in the training, because I know if I get into a fight where it's like, okay, it's the 4th and 5th round, I'm down a round, I got to win these next 2 rounds to win the fight. I can sack up and go. So I know I can do that. So it's more about being technical.
You were on the Joe Rogan podcast. Shout out Joe Rogan. We want you on the bus one day. You were on the Joe Rogan. I was listening to I was listening to your episode with Joe, and you're huge on visualization, which is stuff we've talked about before. And you're like, you go into really good detail. I go back and find his episode on the Joe Rogan episode, but he'll probably do it on here too. You did an awesome job explaining like how you got into visualizing, and how, like, I want to say you lost like 3 in a row. Yeah. And you started to take on the mental training and the visualization aspect before that 3rd loss. And then you had to, continue to believe in it and keep going about it. Talk about the law of attraction, your visualization, how you got into that, and how you still used it to this day.
Yeah, for me, I think I just took my self-image, my self-worth, my confidence. I took it for granted, and I think just like anything, if you take a certain muscle group for granted and you don't work on it, it's going to atrophy. It's going to not be one of your strengths anymore. But yeah, so back to that, I lost 3 fights in a row. I went 688 days without a win.
Your book that you're going to write one day.
688 days, man, and it's going to be a catchy title. And what is it behind it? I mean, essentially, I grew up wrestling, and if I lost a wrestling match, I knew it was only 4 days, 3 days, 7 days,
or same day
until I can get back on the winning track. But when you got 6 months between a fight, or you just I just got in a knockdown, drag out war. I lost my title. I'm bleeding all over the place. I'll show you guys a picture. Like, that picture is awesome. Just both eyes swollen shut. My lips are turned inside out, blue. 4 or 5 sets of stitches, probably a concussion. And I'm limping back to my hotel room, and for some reason that self-doubt just came in.
And am I even any good?
Yeah, no, well, and that's what it was. I think so many times, especially in today's society, we hear what other people are saying and we try to block it out, but then one small thing happens and it triggers that waterfall of negativity. Yes. Immediately it was, Michael, I knew you weren't as good as you thought you were. I knew you weren't as good as they said you were. I knew they were right. I knew the haters were right. I knew this was right. I knew you were just a phony. You're a small guy from a small town in Missouri. What are you doing? Making a bunch of money and making a bunch of money and being under the bright lights and being this like celebrity fighter guy. You're a phony, and that's what happened. And then that led to another loss and another loss. And I saw a sports psychologist, and I started to just actually look at my mental training like it was me going to the gym and sparring, or me going to the gym and lifting weights. It was a part of it. And so now, the mental game between the ears is now pretty much half of my training. You know, when I'm down in Florida by myself, I mean, I spend, you know, an hour or two a day, whether it's reading, whether it's watching different fights or whatnot, or just sitting there in silence, visualizing, being able to be in the fight before I actually get to the fight. And I mean, I think that's one thing. That's one of the greatest advices I will ever give to a young athlete, or just even a young person in general. Don't take your confidence, your self-image, your self-worth, which is your greatest asset. Your self-image is your greatest asset, because a human being cannot consistently perform in a manner that is inconsistent with the way that he sees himself. So if you don't see yourself as a champion, you may be a champion for a second, you may be a champion for a week, a month, a year, but eventually it's going to catch up with you if you don't truly, truly believe it in your heart of hearts. So yeah, for anybody, don't take your self-image, your self-worth, your confidence in yourself for granted, because eventually it will wane if you're not working on it.
And you might not ever be a champion. Like we were on the one with Ben Newman, and I was kind of talking about standard over feelings, and you're writing your standard. Like for me personally, it was like, what is Will Compton as a Pro Bowl linebacker? Like I haven't been a Pro Bowl linebacker, but there's no reason I should believe any. Just because I'm not one doesn't mean I shouldn't be telling myself I am one and be working towards that every day. You should be not shooting for the stars, so to speak, all the time in your life, and not talk to yourself that way because you want something so bad, and you might not ever hit it. But the moments when, say, you're not hitting those plateaus or you're not hitting those results you're saying, you're still going to use that same process and carry it back over to the next year and the next year, and then when you're doing something else in life, you carry it over to that thing. How are you the best in that world? And you might not ever fucking be the best in that world, but you should always aspire to be something that you are fearful when you're saying it to yourself. Like, okay, like when I'm saying I'm a Pro Bowler, is there a doubt in my mind that I ever think I'm going to be a Pro Bowler? Fuck yeah, there is, dude. It's like, Will, should you really tell yourself that you're going to be a Pro Bowler when you know you're probably not going to be? But hey, at that moment, don't fucking talk to yourself like that. Yeah. Like you got to brainwash yourself, man. And I think that's awesome.
It is true, and it's just like anything. You got to wear it. You got to wear it down, and eventually you wear down that little guy inside of you. I mean, for me, it's a small guy from a small town. I didn't have hair in my armpits till I was 21 years old. So I was like one of the freak, man.
Holy shit, 21?
Maybe it wasn't 21. Maybe it was but like
20 and a half, whatever.
All of that, you know, that was my identity. That's who I was, and you know, that little guy is still in there, and I have to beat him over the head every single day because he creeps up in every single area of my life. If I want to be the best fighter and the best athlete and the best father and the best husband, that little guy is going to keep creeping up in there, and you just have to wear him down, you know? So it's a constant repetition every day, and waking up and just beating that little dude over the head.
No doubt, because you've been at the top. I mean, 3 Pro Bowls, like you guys are at the top. Like, I'm sure it happens still all the time. Dude, we were talking the other day about the Madden rating.
Yeah, I mean,
that shit doesn't matter. But I'm just saying that the guy that talks to you.
That's huge. Is the thing that motivates me a lot. Like obviously, my family helps me a lot. All those things you touched on definitely helps me. But a big thing is people that doubt you is it can be such a motivating factor if you let it do it in the right way.
Yeah.
Like when people say, "Oh, you're terrible at this, terrible at that," like. You still have that when you talk about that little guy in your head. That's still in your head sometimes saying, yo, you're not that good of a left tackle. Like well, Madden rated you this, where you're that. Like, what about these insecurities? Oh, you got beat in practice, so you're probably going to get beat in the game. And all those different things. But as soon as someone says a similar thing that I do in my brain, I'm automatically like, yo, fuck that guy. Yeah. Like, they have no idea who the fuck I am. And I can handle all of it. But like, that is a huge thing that I had to learn as well. And it's so important because brain's a muscle just like anything else. Yeah. And to sit there and there's a book I read all the time. It's called The 4 Agreements. That's an amazing book. I read it every year for the past 3 years. And it just talks about like there's 4 key principles. And one of those principles is be impeccable with your word. Like everything you say you're going to do, just do it. And make sure you stay on top of those things. And the more you live a life that it's very simple. If you just live a life that you're not ashamed, like and people wouldn't be ashamed of, then you have nothing to worry about. Yep. I don't have anxiety because I now live my life exactly how I want to live my life. And I know exactly who I am, and I'm the same person when I'm here as when I'm in the football field as when I go home. And it can be a lot for some people sometimes because I'm a high energy dude. But it's like, you have to put the investment into first love yourself. Yep. That's the hardest thing to do and the easiest thing to say. Because if I ask you who your top 5 favorite people in this world, the first person you should start with is always, me, and then my wife, and then my daughter, and then my best friend Nick, and then and then Will. and all those things.
Why'd you have to just look at my friend Nick?
But it's those key principles that you have to keep talking to yourself. And anytime, it's funny to me. I watch people that are like that shit on themselves for humor, and it's like that's good. And I think that's not good. It's hilarious. But at the same time, if you keep saying something, whether it's a joke or not, that's the old saying. There's a truth into every joke, and so it's okay to do that sometimes, but it's more important than anything else is to, one, love yourself, read constantly, and just do the right thing. Those are, I mean, people talk about religion all the time. Like you got if you go look at any different religion, whether it's Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhist, all that different stuff, the main principles is just be cool to people, be nice to people, treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't kill people. That's probably a big one. Yeah. Take care of your body. Those things. Like you only want to put things in your body that are going to help you. That's why I don't go to McDonald's or Arby's. I can't eat that shit even when I'm done playing. It's just not something you want to do. It's because those are things that you put in your body, and it's gonna fuck with your brain as well. And it's just it's a crazy vicious circle that we, especially in America, get in, because America is such a bubble. And if you take 10 steps outside of here, my wife's from Canada, I go up there, it's a completely different world. Things are slower. There's a bunch of not a bunch of shit, and even the fast food there because it's not allowed. Yeah. You go down to South America or even Europe, it's just a different world. But America lives in this crazy bubble that everything, your shit doesn't stink. You're perfect. Everyone here is perfect, and it's not. But it's like people are so masked by whether it's social media or I'm an American and this, that, and the other. It's really important to you got to look inward. And so anytime it goes with life too, not just with sports, but if I have an issue with somebody, if I'm in a bad place mentally, I'll go off on that person. But then I'll take a couple minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh fuck, it had nothing to do with him. It's always yourself. Yeah. Because everything's controllable, and it becomes a vicious circle. And I ramble way too much.
Yeah,
that is what it is.
Well, I mean, you're saying it all, and you were saying it too. It's sitting with yourself, learning about yourself, and also who you surround yourself with and what you surround yourself with.
That's a big one. That's a really big one.
Sometimes, I'll be around Taylor, and the dude, he's so intentional in all the things he does. He was speaking
real quick. I hate to interrupt you, Will.
Go ahead. A train can always oops me, dude.
Yeah. So a train. It wouldn't be a Bussin' with the Boys podcast without a little train going by. So go ahead. Will, sorry.
I'll be around Taylor, and he's so intentional with stuff sometimes to where, he'll talk about, I want to be the greatest left tackle to ever play, and I'll sit there. I'm like, it'll kind of reaffirm me that I should be thinking in ways that are remind me to think that way again, or continue to repeat. Don't let this little guy say something, or let the good one on your shoulder, on the other shoulder, talk to you that way that Taylor's out here talking and being confident all the time. Because this dude he's so confident too. He's very confident to where it rubs off, but you rub off on people. Man. You rub off who you're around.
You never apologize for being confident.
You gotta have a friend. You have to have a friend like that, man.
And he brings up books like Four Agreements. He put me on that. I think Four Agreements and Fifth Agreement. I forget who wrote them, but we should figure out who wrote those books. But those are awesome. But it's who you surround yourself with, because again, you're gonna be in those times where you're in the gym and you're just talking to yourself. You'll go from the best in the world to maybe I'm losing a step.
Maybe I'm a water boy.
Yeah, and now people are reaching out
what's going on? When's my peak? All that.
Yeah, and people ask hey, you still in shape to play ball? And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm in fucking phenomenal shape, and I don't know if that's the answer they're wanting to hear, but I feel that way, even though I'm fucking 29 going on 30 and have been at this peak in my career. But I know you can find another peak given the opportunity.
Yeah, well, and it all goes back to reputation, right? What I realized is the most important thing to me in my entire life was my reputation. Not exactly what people thought of me, but knowing that people looking at me and say, man, that guy's reliable, that guy's a good dude, he tries to do the right things, he loves his family, he loves this, he loves that. And then the more I realize, the older I get, the more I realize the greatest reputation is the one that I have with myself. You're right. So just like what you were talking about, whether it be making the wrong decisions with what you're eating or making the wrong decisions with who you're surrounding yourself with, when you're doing those things that are kind of self-loathing without even really feeling like without even really knowing it, you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, right? Whenever and it goes back to being a good person. When you do something that is outside of having good character, whether you win or lose or gain from that experience, you're losing no matter what, because you're actually doing something opposite of what the human soul was created to do. I think we were,
Right.
the age-old debate of are humans inherently evil or are they inherently good? So it can be debated, right? But I think we're all inherently good, and we just get corrupted by this outside world or
these
the
external
people that we
factors.
surround ourselves with, and that's always been the most important thing to me, who I surround myself with, and trying to have a ridiculously, almost annoyingly confident friend around you.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
guy that
yeah.
you look at and you're like,
Gotta
gosh
love that
dang,
guy."
dude, I wish I had a quarter of that, right? And
Yeah.
like Ben Askren was that for me, man. I mean, the dude was undefeated until just a couple weeks ago for a reason. I mean, the dude, and he was actually one of the most untalented men I've ever been around in my entire life. Like I came in as a freshman, he
If
was
you're
a
listening to
junior.
Ben, Mike's taking shots.
No,
so
no, but it's
untalented.
good.
He's
But it's-
actually
no.
one of the most shitty human beings I've ever really been to.
No, but I'm saying physically. I mean,
Yeah.
like you look at the dude, and he's actually making a gimmick out of it. He's like, he talks about his dad bod and that kind of stuff. He does not look like a professional athlete competing at the highest level. Yet between his ears, I've never met a more confident person. You have to have a couple of those people around you, because they're just going to level you up.
No doubt. Before we get into the next stuff, let's go. Let's read these ads.
Now we be quiet.
And now we're
back. And we're back.
Yeah, yeah. Because we never know. We backlog everything.
Nice, good work.
Yeah.
And now
You
we're
gotta make
back.
that money somehow,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
You gotta
now
make
we're
that bank,
back.
bro.
I like that.
Speaking of banks. No, I'm just kidding. We're not. I was about banks.
This episode brought to you by Chase Bank.
No, fuck Chase, dude. They're not.
Hey, but
I was
you
with
had the
Chase- I
four
was with
agreements
Chase for
brought
a little
up.
bit.
Really?
You had the four
I had to
agreements
pay.
brought
I'm
up.
with Wells Fargo now.
There you
Shouts to
go.
Wells Fargo.
There you go.
I'm a little bit everywhere, actually. I actually am still a little bit with Chase, but mostly Wells Fargo.
There you go.
Hey, there's the book.
Yeah,
Four
the book's
Agreements.
rad.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Nice, I like that.
That guy's awesome, man. He's got another book about love. It's The Love Agreement or something like that. It's really good, and it talks about the four agreements in that book. There's another book called it's the art.
We'll
it's
drop
the, it's
drop
the,
these links
the
on
War
Amazon
of
too.
Art or the
So
Art
you
of
get
War.
Art of War.
That's an amazing book.
Yeah.
And I'm reading a book right now called Ego is the Enemy, because like myself, I don't know how much you watch football or even the Tennessee Titans or anything like that, but it doesn't really matter.
He was supposed to come to a game last year. Got him a sideline pass, and he said, "I was like, hey man, got your sideline pass." He texted back, "Thanks," and then gave me the middle finger. Never showed up.
Middle finger
I'm
emoji.
just kidding.
Middle finger emoji.
Yeah, middle finger emoji.
love
Thanks. Okay.
Thanks, appreciate it. Talk to you never.
Yeah.
But he made it up for
This
coming
season,
on the bus.
hopefully. This season.
You're coming on this season?
Yeah, hopefully.
Coming out? Yeah, we'll get you a sideline pass. Dude,
Yeah,
you
man.
and Will can sit next to each other.
Yeah.
We got
My God.
we got a great. But anyway, it's all about confidence, right?
Exactly, right?
It's all about confidence and building people up around
Yeah, just
you.
build them up. Yeah, bring them up with you.
No, dude. But going back, I'm reading a book right now called "Ego Is the Enemy" and how much like the ego can really like debilitate you in life. And it's kind of taught me a lot because I've always been very like vocal on the field, very loud. Like I'm a big chirper. I talk a lot of shit.
Very ego.
That's awesome.
Very, very ego a
awesome.
lot. And I'm still going to do those things, but it's really important. Like sometimes, like you guys got to stop laughing back there, dude. I'm trying to get serious now.
Damn, they're still laughing at that joke.
That was
Look at Marcos. He can't even fucking.
This is dying.
God damn it, Marcos, just take pictures and stop fucking laughing.
Good one.
By the time this episode drops, I'm gonna fucking be somewhere balling.
Pro Bowl linebacker.
That's
right.
Dean is gained. What are you? 220?
No,
215? 230?
Yeah.
I knew that.
I know you want to
If you gain
continue.
70 pounds, you could be the best left guard in the league. How tall are you?
6'2", 6'1".
Okay, so you're 6'1".
6'1".
So you'd be the best center in the league, dude.
Dude, I'm smart as fuck. I could easily do that.
Yeah, center you got to be really, really smart to do.
Yeah. Oh, and all these books, guys. The links will be in the YouTube bio and shit like
Yeah.
that, so you guys can find it.
Ego.
What else
Hey,
we got,
so
dude?
you watch guys like watch guys like Conor McGregor. First UFC fight I ever went to, or first fight I will say I ever went to was Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, the first one.
Oh, dude.
I was with the guy Richie Incognito,
savage, bro.
in Vegas, and we went in there. It was me, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. We just met, and Richie, and he took us to this fight. And he's like, "You got to look up this Conor McGregor guy. He's insane." So I started watching him, and he talks so much shit.
So much.
He's getting after it's in dudes' heads, knocking dudes out, going up weight classes, knocking dudes out. Like it's just killing people. And I watched Nate Diaz fight. He lost the Nate Diaz fight. A year later, he fights Nate Diaz again in August and wins. It was like a split decision right at the end. And
good
then
fight.
he just keeps talking shit, and he literally talks himself into this boxing match against Mayweather.
Yep.
And fights him, doesn't stand a chance, but actually does a good job boxing for the first few rounds. Loses that. Year and a half later, fights Khabib, loses that, and it's like you start to look at him and the way he operates, and he literally used his mouth as a business.
Yep.
Like he talked himself into every single one of those things, and now he's got a whiskey that I haven't tried yet. I've heard it's good. Okay, so I have two opinions now. One decent, one okay, and one not so good.
Proper whiskey.
And he's like killing it. His whiskey is all over the place. It's unbelievable. So like, did you ever look at him or look at fighters like him and think to yourself, hey, that might not be me, but from a business standpoint, I can manipulate a lot of these things to either get clicks, my name get out there more, get a big fight, maybe get a Bellator versus UFC championship fight or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's that part of the business, and the guy who kind of originated was Chael Sonnen back in the day, and the originator of at least, you know, talking themselves into fights that they shouldn't have been in, and Conor did. Conor's now done the best at it as far as lucrative wise, making as much money as possible and then spending off into brands. But I think I have, but I also know it's hard. It's hard when the message that you want to put out there is the opposite of that, you know, and that's where my cognitive dissonance came in as far as not my values actually not lining up with the situation at hand. And I've done it a little bit. I've talked a little bit of trash, and it doesn't come natural to me. It's not who I am. I'd rather be more positive or more inspirational than, you know, kind of coming at people. And there's been other guys, like a guy like Randy Couture. Randy Couture is a Hall of Famer, and he'll be known as one of the greatest fighters of all time, fought into his 40s, and he never talked trash. GSP never talked trash. So there's the other guys who have done just as well and arguably could have made more money if it was right now in 2019 than Conor did. But Conor also had Conor got taken care of because he had a whole country behind him.
Yeah,
you know, I was just at a party last night with a guy who DJs for Jason Aldean. So he does the DJ thing right before Jason Aldean goes out, and we were talking about how he's in Vegas almost every weekend. He was there for 2 of the Conor fights, and you probably noticed, the whole city turns into little Ireland, right? Yeah. You know, and they got the tricolor flags all over everywhere. These people in Ireland who probably didn't have much money saved up for an entire year to get those flights
to go to Vegas,
came over, staying in the hostels, like trying to, like, you know, just to watch their sportsmen, you know. So it was a perfect storm of everything he was doing, everything he was saying, and he was winning. You know, I always said he's not as good as he thinks he is, but he's better than other people think he is. I think a lot of us said, oh, he's not that good, but he's better than we thought he was, but he's not quite as good as he thinks he is. But that mental game is no joke, man. That mental game, he did have people broken before they even stepped into the cage with him.
So you don't think he's like like one of the best ever to do it? Like, do you think if he took the time, didn't, from a talent perspective, right? Southpaw, everything I hear is this guy's got this unique skill set, the way he moves his body and all that. Do you think if he just focused on the nuts and bolts of being a UFC fighter, an MMA fighter, then branding and focusing on other stuff, do you think it could have gone a different way where we'd be having a different conversation of you saying, yeah, maybe he is one of the best of all time?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think any of us can do that, though. I mean, well, not any of us. I mean, you have to have a certain level of skill, level of talent, level of ability. But I mean, him from his physical attributes, yes, he is a long, tall southpaw for the weight class, the 155. He was at 145 before, and he's gone up to 170. And he went up to 170, by the way, and fought another 155er. So they went up a weight class, but they were both 155ers. So they essentially fought the same guy.
You talking about Diaz?
Yeah, he would have fought at 155. So, because that was a big thing, and they did a great job marketing it, you know, like, oh, he's going up a weight class, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, what I will say is he has it because really, like we just talked about, 90% of being the greatest in the world is between the ears, you know? I mean, when it comes to physical attributes, he's got enough of it. When it comes to the power, he's definitely got enough of that. And when it comes to the confidence, he's definitely got that in droves. I think he ran into Khabib. Khabib has never lost. Khabib won't lose.
Yeah, he's like, dude, that just eats potato and drinks vodka, dude. Like, he's fucking so Russian.
Man, yeah.
He literally was born in Chernobyl. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
Born in Chernobyl, grew up in Chernobyl. No, I didn't. I'm just fucking around. But I was just saying. Like, he was in the radio, thing. He's all fucked up.
Dude, he's as close to unstoppable as you have seen. And we've seen a couple. What makes him
so unstoppable? He's just so locked in.
Well, there's a certain rule set that we play by, and it's striking and it's grappling and there's a mixture of everything, and there's a time clock, and in those allotted amount of times he doesn't finish a lot of guys. He really finishes very few of his fights, but he's able to pick guys up, put them down, be on top of them, hold a wrist, and just punch them for 20, 25 minutes, 15 minutes, for as long as he wants to. He's probably going to do the same thing to Dustin Poirier here in September in Abu Dhabi. He did it in his last fight to Conor. The fight before that, we saw some chinks in his armor against Ali Akinta, but that was a crazy fight where it got switched the night before, so I think he wasn't mentally there. Mm-hmm. But the sport, it's just funny because when you really break the sport down into just the nuts and bolts of it, it's a very simplistic sport. And if you can become really good at a certain skill set that even when guys prepare for it, they can't stop it, you're going to be successful, and that's what he's done. Barring any knockouts or the flash knockout, knockdown, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff happens, or crazy split decisions where the refs called the fight the other way. So it's just a crazy sport. For him to go undefeated for as long as he has is nothing short of amazing. So I would never take anything away from him. He's just very good at grappling, wrestling, and punching people.
You're good at wrestling.
If you got a call tomorrow and say we want you to fight Khabib,
he's taking it.
I think that's the greatest fight for me because I think I can out wrestle him. I also think I have better cardio than him. I also think but it's hard for me to go there because I've said I can beat Khabib before, but then people say, oh, well, then why don't you come prove it in the UFC? And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to take a pay cut to go fight Khabib. I don't want to have all this risk and no reward.
What if Bellator and UFC got together? Have they ever talked about joining? No. Not joining, but maybe like doing a dual fight, like here, our guy versus your guy.
They probably hate each other.
Let's knuckle it up.
Yeah, they do hate each other.
They probably don't hate each other. It's a business.
It's a business.
And any business, like if I'm, you're Apple and Microsoft or something like that, or whatever. It's like it's kind of. Yeah, you're your main competition.
Yeah, it's true. Well, number one, I will say it is a possibility because if it makes money, it makes sense in this industry, right? Mm-hmm. In any industry, if they knew they could make $1 billion on a pay-per-view because they have all the best fighters on the same card, they would probably do it. But the problem is there's a lot of risk involved for the UFC. If I came over and beat Khabib, and then if our 170 pounder came over and beat the 170 pounder, and then Bellator wins a couple of those fights, the UFC all of a sudden loses their little notch of the greatest organization with the greatest fighters. Mm-hmm. And
that's true.
And Bellator takes a huge step up.
When UFC have the money to be like, hey, come fight for us. And we'll pay
so
you.
They probably do have the money, right?
They do, but
absolutely.
they do, but they don't need to, and that's a thing. I mean, and I'm self-aware enough to realize I'm not a huge draw either. There's guys that have been in the UFC who have barely cracked the top 10 who may have a bigger name than me in that UFC crowd, in the bigger mainstream crowd. I mean, the amount of guys that have been in the UFC and gotten great followings and great respect in the sport, but are very, very subpar fighters is just mind-blowing. Just because they fought in the UFC under the UFC banner. But it's the nature of our sport. And 10 years from now, I think it'll be a lot different. I think there will be other organizations like Bellator coming in. ONE FC is now growing. There's going to be another organization come in with probably a lot of money, a lot of backing, and it's going to just keep happening. And competition is always good. Competition is
there's a lot of fighters
great
out there too.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's enough fighters to be. You got Pro Fight League. Pro Fight League is, they have $1 million tournament. If you win 6 fights or whatever, you get $1 million or however that works. But they're doing their thing.
Does Bellator still do that tournament style that you're talking about? The 3 fights in 3 months and shit like that?
They do a tournament, but now it's more like 3 fights over a year.
Gotcha.
Which is still cool.
Do you remember UFC 1?
Yeah.
No weight classes.
Yeah.
Your guys are going in there wearing gis. No weight classes. Huge tournament, and it was all done in like a weekend, right?
Yeah. Well, in one night they used to have a fight a couple times in one night too. I mean, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
but,
bro.
So
fucking nuts.
They did it in Bellator a couple years ago where it was a 4-man tournament, 2 fights in 2 nights, or 1-2. Each guy fought 2 fights in 2 nights.
Yeah.
So, who knows? I mean. It's the entertainment business.
Yeah, but you get your ass knocked up a little bit and all that.
Yeah.
You get knocked out. What's a concussion protocol for you guys in the UFC? I keep saying UFC. I'm sorry. That's just
mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts. Yeah, MMA.
You know,
You're pissing him off.
I know, I can tell.
No, I don't.
He's ready,
That's
like,
the
hey,
thing.
look, he's starting to grip his leg a little bit.
No, that's the
any
thing.
fucking problems,
No,
man.
that's the thing. Trust me. Like 5 years ago, it would have bothered me, but I know that I've made the right decision. You know, like that's the thing. I know that I've made the right decision.
And you can't help that we're stupid.
No, it's just it's part of it.
Me
Kudos.
seeing UFC is just a lack of how much intelligence. Like I have educated myself enough to say
that, but also
Bellator, fight night. But
It shows how well- yeah,
exactly. But
any of that stuff.
But also kudos to the UFC for branding.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The UFC to make people think. Because people say, is that like UFC? Is that like UFC?
Right.
Is it like MMA? And I'm like, it is MMA. You know,
Right,
it's just
right,
like you
right.
guys play football in the NFL. I fight mixed martial arts in Bellator or in UFC. What was your question again?
It was like it's
Your
like
concussion-
Kleenex.
your concussion
Hey,
protocol.
it's
Oh,
like
concussion,
It's
yeah.
like Kleenex. People say Kleenex, and really it's tissue.
Q-tip, exactly.
Kleenex is like the best branding company of all time.
Greatest.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Concussion protocol.
Anyway, yeah, concussion protocol.
So we
Whoops,
always
whoops.
get so Bellator, UFC, these fight promotions don't actually govern themselves. They are governed by the boxing commissions. So my last fight was the Illinois State Athletic Commission or Boxing Commission. So they will suspend you. So depending on no matter what, if you win your fight, you're going to get a 7-day or probably a 14-day suspension that says you can't fight in 14 days, which you shouldn't be anyway. But when you lose a fight, it's pretty much like an automatic 30-day. If it's a TKO loss or something like that, it's an automatic 60-day. No
Fuck.
contact, no nothing. Which is it's only 2 months. I mean, you should definitely be taking 2 months off if you get knocked out or TKO'd or whatnot.
Now,
But
are you
they
not allowed
just
to
check you out.
exercise or anything during that?
No, you're allowed to. You just cannot get it's essentially like you can't be licensed in any other state. So I could go spar the next day if I wanted to. I can go get in a street
Bar
fight
fight.
if I wanted to. I can go do whatever I wanted to. But until that 60-day suspension is lifted, I can't get I can't go to Nevada and get a boxing license to box or fight because I am currently suspended. Just the same thing with like if I failed a drug test, I would be suspended for 2 years under the whatever sanction, and I wouldn't be able to get a sanction anywhere else in any other state. Or flagrantly whenever Khabib jumped out of the cage and drop kicked that guy during the Conor fight, he got suspended. So Nevada suspended his license for X amount of days. He wasn't able to get another license in any other state to compete until that suspension was lifted.
Damn.
That's some crazy shit.
You thought about starting a podcast on your own?
I have. Yeah.
Aside from a book, have you started on the book? 688 Days?
No, I mean I've gotten little journal stuff here. I mean I journal a lot and kind of write some stuff down because I mean one of the biggest things is just forgetting. The great thing is I got a brother who like my brother and I lived together for years. Like he can recall memories. Remember that time, this, that, and the other thing, and I can ask him a question. And he'll go off on a tangent. So I think he will be my ghostwriter, or at least my rememberer of all this stuff, right? Yeah, I mean, a book. I would love to do a podcast. I'd love to do online training. I'd love to be the guy who teaches or informs the young mixed martial arts fighters. Because just like the NFL, now there was 5-year-old kids who want to be in the NFL someday. Now there's 5-year-old kids, 6-year-old kids, and their parents who want to see their kid come up and become mixed martial artists. Right.
Right.
These kids need guidance. They need a way to go. How do you get a manager? How do you get sponsors? How do you decide to take? How do you choose between organizations? How do you choose the right gym? How do you choose the right coach? How do you do this? How do you do that? And just educating kids and just be able to. I know I've been given a lot of gifts, so I want to be able to kind of pass that along to the next generation. Yeah.
Yeah, you have your own gym, right?
We have
Here
a
in
gym
Nashville.
Here in Nashville, yeah. So
Dude, we should go train there one day.
What's the name of the gym? Go and plug it.
Yeah.
Training camp. Training camp. So yeah, so we do 10,000 square foot facility. We're right down the road from you guys' stadium right by the go-karts and all that on Davidson Street.
Yeah.
So we 10,000 square feet. We have 3,500 square foot of rolled rubber turf for group fitness and personal training. Then we have 3,500 square foot of mats for boxing, kickboxing, grappling, all that kind of stuff. So
That's awesome, man. What's
fun.
that called?
Training camp.
You can find it in Nashville.
Right
What
here in
about
Nashville.
recovery?
Recovery, man. I mean, now that I'm on the other side of 30, recovery is so important. I'm on my roller every day. I get body work every day, supplementation when it comes to, so every day I'm waking up and I'm drinking Cover 3, which is a brain supplement for my brain. It's got all the anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, omegas, DPA, EHA, all that stuff that you need for your brain, for y'all that are getting hit, and me as well. BCAAs, ISO 100 protein, and then just a ton of downtime and realizing that if I can work smarter rather than harder all the time. Because I mean, I get beat up just like you guys. You guys are in a fight for 8 seconds every single play, right?
Right.
So just recovering. Now that I'm on this side of 30.
What else? Are there anything else? Do you do like red light therapy or cryo or anything like that?
I have an infrared sauna that I've been
nice.
I like. Yeah,
Nice.
my wife got me that for my birthday, so that's cool. We got that in my basement, so I'll do that. I'm working on getting a cold tub because I like cold tub.
Yeah, cold tub's rad. What do you mean? You like
really,
you're trying to get plumbing done and everything to have one like in your house?
As far as the cold tub, I would love to do that. I think I'll probably just get a deep freezer or like one of those.
That's
units,
what
right?
Taylor got.
I went to
get?
Tractor Supply Company, get one of those tubs.
Yeah, you got to get a
It's
big
like
one.
It's like $160. It's really.
And
you
it
pop
plugs
it out
in?
there? No. This is like a legit tub, like a trough. That, like,
okay,
empty
yeah,
out of.
nice. And you just put ice in it.
I fill up with water. Go to the gas station, get like 5 bags of ice.
Oh man.
Put it in there. I had an infrared sauna at my place too.
Yeah.
And a Concept 2 rower, so I'll try to hit the rower.
There you go.
Hit the sauna and then
Yeah,
go in the cold
boy.
tub after.
Dude, see.
How
Just getting it.
How many grams of like fish oil or BCAAs? Are you super into that? Or are you kind of just?
Yeah, I'm not into like the actual, milligrams of this. I mean, one thing I actually just, when I was at the Dymatize headquarters, I sat down with the chief science officer and he was talking about the RDA of all of these different supplements, which is recommended daily allowance or whatever. It's all very, very, very low. It's essentially when we read the minimums of what we should be taking of all these supplements, it's
Right.
just enough to
Not get like a certain
not get
disease and
sick.
shit.
Exactly. So I pretty much double everything. I mean, krill oil in the morning, ubiquinol, CoQ10, carnitine, D-ribose. A lot of that stuff has to just do with the brain, getting the body going. I hired a coach out of California.
Yeah, bro, tell us all of it. We're super into that shit.
Yeah, it's called the Training Lab.
Yeah.
It's Sam Calavita. He's a science teacher by trade. A math teacher. He's a mathematician by that's his profession. But he's a big time endurance athlete coach. So he does Ironmans himself. So I mean, the older I get, trying to break the body down to a cellular, molecular level and try to realize that if you treat the body the way that it was designed, that it will give you much, much more, and if I can just get 1 extra year of fighting, that's a nice chunk of change for my family. So being able to prolong that as much as possible.
What do you think about doctors saying, like, I've had doctors tell me that, you don't need to take supplements.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do is get as much rest as possible and eat right.
Yeah, I think that's rubbish. I think
Rubbish.
No offense to doctors, but I think I don't even listen to doctors much these days. Like if I got a orthopedic problem, I will listen to a doctor. If I have like a cardiac problem, if I have a rough problem, I'm listening to a doctor.
It has to be a very specific, but general. You're talking about general doctors.
Yeah, but MDs, and it's just. I mean, my wife will tell you too. She took the medical route. She was a physician assistant, so like she crushes it in the ER. She works at Vanderbilt ER and all that kind of stuff. So she even understands that the way that they are trained, it's just to treat the symptoms and not make people more healthy human beings.
Not the cause, not get to the root of everything.
So I mean, I'm more of like some people can get out there and kind of weird, but homeopathic kind of doctors, like the Eastern type of medicine stuff, the roots, curcumin,
turmeric root type of stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I take every morning. It's actually a company based out of California, and it's got curcumin, transresveratrol, alpha GPC, all these antioxidants and anti-inflammatories, especially for the brain, just to increase the neuroplasticity.
Anti-inflammatory is the biggest thing, right? That can help with, it
especially
can be as
when you get
small as
older.
joint health and as big as cancer.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm pumping freaking lots and lots of milligrams of turmeric, curcumin, all that kind of stuff, which is all the same thing.
It's never too much, right? You just take it in there.
I mean, if you pee it out,
piss it out.
You pee it out. Who cares? At least you put a buffer in your
burn on
body.
the pee with that turmeric and it's over.
It's like my pee is orange, but we're good.
What's going on?
Orange
Dude,
of my peas.
I got these turmeric curcumin pills I take every day, man. And if I'm wearing like a light pair of shorts, I'll wipe my hands, and then halfway through the day I'll be looking, I'm like, yo, I have orange spots all over my pants.
I know
They're stained for like 2 washes.
I know. Have you ever like got the actual root and cut it up and like put it in either? So you can buy the root.
You can buy those at Whole Foods, right?
Yeah.
The turmeric root itself.
Yeah, so I'll get them and I juice them. I have like a certain juice recipe.
Tastes
that
like shit, huh?
I like turmeric and ginger.
It's an acquired.
I
think it's an acquired kind of taste.
Weird palate, yeah. So I just take them and just chew on them. No, but and if you cut them up, you get that orange on your hands, and it
doesn't go away.
Sits there for 24 hours. When a doctor says that, or people say that, because it's easy to say, because it's easy to shame people. You should be eating better, and you don't need supplements. It's easy to do that, but it's just not. It's not very practical, right? You know, I mean, and especially with what we do, we need way more protein than is recommended.
Even something as simple as vitamin D.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you live in Alaska. Okay. Well, like 6 months out of the year, it's not even sunlight.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to need some D. All right? Not the
Or you
time.
live in Nashville. Or you live in Nashville. You live in
Not that
Nashville,
kind,
and
you
you
fucking-
you don't get enough
you're
sun
a
here
sicko,
either.
dude. You're a sicko, bro.
Well, even
He
D.
goes, I said, you're going to need that D. He goes, hey, you're sick. You need to get laid,
Well, I
buddy.
mean,
You got something going on in your mind right now. That's all.
In the lines of work we do too for vitamin D, football players, you know, you're banging for what 6 months out of the year. UFC or MMA guys, fuck, I almost did it. He almost swung on me.
Oh my
MMA
God,
guys,
dude.
they're guys that are physically exerting themselves all the time. They get deficient in vitamin D. I want to say in the NFL, you're like, I think even the national ranking too, like 70 to 80% of all people are vitamin D deficient. And like when I consult with my guy, he puts me on like 10,000 to 20,000 of IUD if I'm deficient in it until I get back to that next blood test and I'm good. Then I'll go back down to like 5 or 10. But I feel the same way, like doubling shit and doing stuff where I'm like, I thought only on the back of the thing it said to do this, and they're like, oh, that's bullshit, Will.
Yeah.
That's how he talks. He's like, oh, that's bullshit. Don't listen to that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and that's what's great is in 2019, you know, this day and age, there's no reason to not seek out all of this information. Seek out these type of doctors. Don't just read what the FDA puts on the back of bottles and read all that stuff, because it's not enough for optimizing human performance, you know, and you guys have access to a lot of great people. Everybody has access to a lot of great people, and we all have access to a lot of the World Wide Web.
Yeah,
you know,
no doubt.
to be
No
able
doubt.
to, you know, and some of the stuff you read is going to be BS, but a lot of the stuff, if you dig deep enough, you
Understand
can
why,
find it.
yeah.
Right.
And we're not telling you guys to go to your cabinets right now and just start triple dosing everything. Consult with your doctor. We're not
and
doctors.
That's the thing. I'm also saying listen to your doctor too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I know I'm a
Just said I don't listen to doctors, but hey.
I know.
sure you
the
guys
rubbish
listen to
doctors
doctors.
say, dude,
Just
listen, I
because
listen to
I
my
don't.
doctor.
Just because I don't
with the
listen
right
to a lot
people,
of
that's what we
doctors,
say.
you know, just
Yeah.
just because I don't listen to them doesn't mean everybody else
Doctors
shouldn't.
they fucking put bullshit in your system. They try to give you pills and all this, and oh, it hurts here. Okay, take a Vicodin and all that. And it's
Yeah.
like this ain't
Yeah.
that
That's
ain't the way
rough.
it goes.
Yeah, well, and that's the same thing as, you know, the treating the symptom instead of the actual root problem. I mean, it's and a lot of it has to do with diet. When you went back to like why America is failing at health, it's because we have so many options and so many horrible options, and the fact that we can, like, they're able to pump gluten and all these outside agents into everything that we're eating is kind of a tragedy. But it's all about educating yourself and trying to, once again, continue to surround yourself with the right people who know what they're talking about.
No doubt.
Surround yourself with people who help you make the right decisions.
No doubt. No
So-
doubt. We got to, dude, we're at an hour and 8. Where can people
Hour and
find
8.
you? Where can people
Social
find you on the web?
medias.
Social media, anything.
Social media, I have michaelchandler.com as a website. I'm not doing a ton with it right now. Instagram is where I do a lot of my speaking to people, my workouts, all that kind of stuff, at Mike Chandler MMA.
Get on that right now.
Yeah, so just that's where I do a lot of my stuff, and a lot of stuff coming soon. So we'll see.
Well, until you do your podcast, you're always more than welcome to come.
This is great.
To come
man.
sit on the bus, dude.
Dude, I'm just gonna sit on the bus and watch this show. It's
Yeah,
fun.
whatever fighters
I
are
wanna
in
be-
town. Whatever fighters are in town, you're like,
Dude,
yo,
there
let's
you
just
go.
go rap on the bus, man.
There you go. Yeah, man. I'll do that. I wonder when the next show people are coming in town for.
Dude, are
Gotta
you
figure
to Schaub? Brandon Schaub?
I am. I just haven't been out to LA to do his show yet. Yeah.
He's coming out. He'll be out here next weekend for Zany's Comedy Club. He's going to do some stand up.
Well, he should get on the bus.
That's what I'm saying. Now,
All right, we'll do a video. We'll
I'm
send him a
sitting here
video.
thinking that because the boy,
you're gonna
he'll
be-
be in training camp. I'm not anywhere yet. I'm
Okay.
still waiting on a call, patiently waiting. But yo, we could run this thing.
Dude, there you
You
go.
co-host. It might be an easier way for him to be comfortably want to come on.
Dude, that could be cool.
We can maybe rock an ep.
We could rock an ep. Shoot,
We'll
I
find
got
out, dude.
I got a bachelor party next weekend, I think.
You do?
Yeah.
So you'll be out of town?
No, I'll be in town.
Oh,
It's
it's
here.
going to be the bachelor
It's
party here in
but-
Nashville?
Shoot.
Maybe you get up, we'll recover one day. You recover in the morning.
I
and
got
be like,
it.
boys, I got to
I'll
fly
nail it.
out for 2 hours.
No.
Drive down the road. Maybe we can figure something out.
No,
though.
but it's here though.
It's here.
It's
He's here.
The
I think it's August 1st through 3rd. I kind of want to just go see his. stand up too. I'm a big fan of his.
Dude, he's good, and he just started his podcast with Theo Vaughn.
Yeah,
They're
dude,
just
so
freaking
funny because he's got
funny.
Fighter and the Kid, and then this King and the Sting with
King and the
Theo
Sting,
Vaughn.
yeah, dude,
Yeah. But it'll be out here. I think August 1st through 3rd. So
So I'll send him a message. We'll talk about it.
all right,
Let's get him out
good.
here.
Anything else?
He needs to be on the bus.
He does need to be on the bus. We'll
No,
get
that
you
was-
some merch too.
Yeah, there we go.
And by the way, you can go find our merch at bussinwtb.com.
Bussin WWD.
Go buy some merch. We got our neon signs. We got our shirts. We got hats. By the time this comes out, hats are probably already going to be on there. Go buy stuff. Support the boys. Get on this thing with us. Help this thing keep moving.
Get a vitamin D. You guys could do your own vitamin D supplement.
I know.
Blossom. You sicko. You sicko. All right, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.